I just found out that 2.9 billion Americans had their social security numbers leaked online through a hacker of some kind. So I wanted to alert you of this right away because I just was hacked in a different way, and I was able to take advantage of some tools that are free and available to everybody that can really secure your credit. And so I thought about telling people about this before, and I did. I made a couple videos about it. But now I feel like it's almost essential. So hence the impromptu video. You have to see this because if your information is out there, your social security number is hacked, who knows what kind of havoc that's going to cause on your life. This is not sponsored by any companies. I'm not going to endorse some credit security, whatever company at the end of this. That's not the case. I'm just trying to share this information with you so you know that it's happening and so you can take free action to protect yourself and your family and your future. So if you Google something like social security numbers hacked, it'll come up with articles all over the internet, the LA Times, CNET. All this is just developing as of 6 a.m. this morning. So what exactly happened is 2.9 billion people have had their data, including your name, current and past addresses, and your social security number stolen. And the way this happened is there was some kind of background check company whose data was used by private investigators, consumer public record sites, human resources and staffing agencies. Basically, a bunch of people use this aggregate source to do background checks on us. And to do that, they had to have our personal information. But the problem is, whenever you hack that source, you get all of that very private, very sensitive personal information. Oh, and the stolen information also includes not only your information, but information about your family too. So that's reassuring. Parents, siblings, relatives, aunts, uncles, cousins, and people who are dead. So you could create, if you were some kind of criminal, like a full identity around somebody, including past family records and who knows what. I mean, all kinds of bad things. To add insult to injury, guess how much they were selling this for? 2.9 billion people's records, their family, everything all together. They listed it for $3.5 million. Barely over $1 per person. Is my life and identity worth only $1? Come on, guys. Charge a little more. What we don't want to have happen here is people get your name, your social, your address, all these different forms of contacting you, and then they go out and start accounts in your name. This just happened to a family member of mine where they got something in the mail that said, here's your new credit card. And we were like, we didn't ask for a new credit card. Why is there a new credit card here in my name? Well, someone else had gotten enough of that person's information to actually apply for a credit card and get one. So we called that financial institution and we said, hey, what the heck is going on here? We didn't apply for this. Can you cancel the card? Can you stop anything? And they were pretty nonchalant about it. They said, hey, just wait and see if any charges appear on there. But I don't want to get to that point. I don't want to have to deal with sorting through the accounts that someone might be starting in my name, especially if they can somehow get them mailed to their own address and not to mine, or get digital access to a card or something else they start, get a loan in my name, anything like that. I don't want that to even get to that point. I don't want to manage it. I want to stop it at the source. After doing research on this latest breach, I was hoping to see if there was some kind of way that we could look up and see, hey, have we been exposed? You know, do we have reason to be afraid of this? Well, 2.9 billion different people were exposed. It's a US company. There's only 333 million people in the US. 2.9 billion identities were taken. It's pretty fair to say everyone in the US has been affected by this. Now, there isn't like a comprehensive list online to say, look up your name here and tell whether or not you've been exposed. But based on the numbers, we're just going to assume that we all are. So what can we actually do about that? How can we stop this from becoming a much bigger problem in our life? Well, I was just exposed to some kind of data breach whenever Evolve Bank was hacked. And Evolve was kind of the hub for a few different new fintech services. They went through Evolve so that they could come to fruition sooner than otherwise. And then Evolve Bank got hacked. And so my name and email and social and who knows what else was exposed, was hacked. And thankfully, Evolve actually told me that. And in response to that, Evolve was fairly responsible about it. They said, look, we're going to give you 2 years of this like fraud protection services, which I still need to register for. That reminds me. Thank you. And also they recommended a credit freeze or a fraud alert. You can set those things up completely for free with the 3 credit bureaus. And I'll tell you how to do that right now because I just did it. So the first thing you can do is less serious and it's a lot easier to do. That's called a fraud alert. You basically set up this alert on your account with all 3 credit bureaus and it says, hey, you guys need to do extra work whenever somebody comes to you and tries to get a new loan in this person's name. In my case, in Brendan's name, if someone says, I want to apply for a credit card or a mortgage or whatever the thing is, you need to do extra due diligence to make sure that this is the right person, make sure it's actually Brendan. And so hopefully that stops the thing from happening. Hopefully it means that only you can set up a new account. But what's happening here is the business itself is verifying your identity. Do they necessarily care as much as you do that you are who you are? No. So what this does is make it harder for someone to open a new account in your name, but it's far from impossible. And let's think about this. What are the kind of questions that they're going to ask them to verify their identity? Oh, what's your mother's name? Oh, what's your street address? What's your previous street address? What's your grandfather's name? Whatever kind of those questions are, we're all hacked. So is there a way for us to remain safe in this situation? Probably not. Thankfully, this is free. It lasts 1 year. So if you wanted just to do it for a year, that's fine. But after a year, you would have to actually renew it. And the beautiful thing is that whenever you set this up, it goes across all 3 credit bureaus. So you can just contact any one of the 3 credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, and this will go across all 3. So it's super fast, one and done. At the very least, I plead with you, do this. We probably should all do this anyway. In this day and age, even before this hack has happened, this would be a wise thing for us to do because why not? Let's try and not get hacked, guys. Well, we've already been hacked. Let's try and not get taken advantage of because all these people already have our information. But if you want to go even above that, which this is what I did, I placed a credit freeze. And so what this does, and I'm reading specifically from the consumer.ftc.gov website, a credit freeze restricts access to your account report, which means you or others won't be able to open a new credit account while the freeze is in place. You can temporarily lift the credit freeze if you need to apply for new credit, and when the freeze is in place, you'll still be able to do things like apply for a job, rent an apartment, or buy insurance without lifting or removing the freeze. And here's 2 critically amazing things about a credit freeze. Number 1, it's free. And number 2, it doesn't get lifted until you lift it. This is a permanent freeze on your credit until you say otherwise. Can we reiterate that again? It's completely free. It prevents any new accounts from being opened in your name, and it lasts for forever. This is amazing. The only hurdle you have to jump, and I'm talking about like a little desk-sized hurdle, 3 inches, is that you have to contact each of the 3 credit bureaus individually to make this happen. So you have to go to Equifax and either call them or set up an account, go through the process and say, I want to freeze my credit. Okay, done. Then you move on to Experian. You do the same thing. You either set up an account or you call them. You make sure you have all the things you need to verify your own identity. Then you do the same thing with TransUnion. And I actually put this off for a couple weeks because I was like, man, this is going to take forever. These companies aren't going to have good websites. Who knows what kind of identity they're going to have to verify and what hoops you'll have to jump through to make this happen. I was shocked at how relatively easy this was. I mean, we're talking about maybe 10 or 15 minutes per each of the 3 credit bureaus. So in the span of less than an hour, you can go from completely exposed, all of your information has been stolen, just wait for the trouble to come because it's coming, all the way to, okay, well now I have a relatively decent reason to sleep easy because my credit's actually frozen. This is a crappy situation. I wish that this wasn't the case. I wish there weren't people out there who thought this was a great way for them to make money, either to hack our information or to then buy that hacked information so they can leverage it and take advantage of us and be identity frauds and all that stuff. Like if I had the opportunity to do that and you said, hey, Brendan, I'll give you the opportunity to impersonate 100,000 people. You can open up 100,000 credit cards at $10,000 per card. So basically you can go buy whatever you want and just live a heyday. Would you do it? And I would say, hell no, it's not worth it. Yeah, I want a Koenigsegg Gemera. Yeah, I want to be able to do all the track days and eat all the most delicious burritos in the land, but it's not worth taking advantage of people and ruining their lives to do this, or at least ruining a chunk of their financial lives. In fact, I'm actively trying to do the opposite of that by being here most weekdays and making these kinds of YouTube videos for you in an attempt to help. I made a class that's about 4 hours long that teaches you everything that you need to know to get started in the stock market and how to get invested and how to hopefully win in that world so you can grow your net worth and you can have some security in your life as long as some jerk doesn't steal your identity. No, I don't have access to $100 million of other people's credit to go and fund my play days, but I'd rather make a few $1,000s a month helping people than making $1 million a year hurting people. So if you want to be a part of that in the future, please subscribe. That helps me a little bit. If you want to check out my investing class, you can check that out in the description. I've also got a newsletter if you want to see these kind of ideas in written form. I should actually write this into a newsletter. People need to know about this. And otherwise, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.